In this video, we'll be determining the sine or cosine function to model a graph. In this video, I'll be using the cosine function, so I'm going to write that down before I start. So I have a equals, or y equals a cosine b outside of x minus c plus d. So I want to determine the a, b, c, and d values from the graph, then plug them into my general function to obtain the function that will model this graph. To start this, what I'd like to do is find a maximum. So I've got one here, and I also like to find a minimum. So I can see I have a maximum at y equals 0, and I've got a minimum at y equals negative 4. That's going to allow me to find my midline, or the d value. So to find the d value, I'm going to take my value at 0, and I'm going to add my negative 4 to it, and divide that by 2. So that's going to give me a value at negative 2. So I'm going to have a midline for my graph right across the page here. Once I have the midline, it's going to make it much easier for me to find the amplitude, or the a value. If I want to find the a value, I simply have to find the distance from the midline, right here, to the maximum value. And I can do that by either reading off the axis here, or in this case, reading the numbers on the bigger squares on my grid. So I can see that I'm 2 away. So that's going to give me an a value of 2. Remember, the amplitude will always be given as a positive value, as it's a measure of how far away we are from the midline, not where you are versus the y-axis. Next, I want to find the b value. So the normal period for a sine or cosine function, if we're looking at degree measure, would be 360 degrees. So if this had a normal period, if I started at 90, I would expect to see another maximum here at 450, because those are separated by 360 degrees. But I don't. What I do see is about half my graph. So if I go another 360 degrees to bring me to 810 here, I see that I finally get repetition. What that means is that the new period of this graph is 720 degrees. So what I want to do is I want to take my original period, which was 360, and divide it by my new period, which is 720. And I'm going to get that my b value is 0.5, which I can express as a decimal or as a fraction of 1/2. The last value I want to find here is c. Now, my cosine graph usually begins at a maximum back here at 0. But that's not happening in this case. What I do see happening is that the first maximum is occurring here at 90. In other words, that point has been moved 90 degrees right. So my value of c will be a positive 90. So what I want to do now is put these all into my equation that I began the problem with. So I have y equals, the a value is 2, so I have 2 cosine, b value is 0.5 or 1/2. I can use 1/2 outside of x, and I say plus 90, but I have a minus sign here, so that's going to be minus 90 degrees. And the midline was at negative 2, so I'm going to subtract 2.